everyone. We are Tornado Club, Danny and Elle, and thank you very, very much for joining our party, our listening party. We can't do anything in the real world. We'd love to, but we just can't because of the times that we're in. So yeah, this is such a great way to celebrate and to share the EP with you all and be listening to it in real time. And yeah, just celebrating a bit of a milestone and something we've been working on for a long time. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yay! And we've also invited some of our sort of core collaborators who've helped. Like, I think with every EP, it really does take a village to put a release out, and we've had some amazing people work on it with us. So because we can't all be in one state or one place, we've just sort of had little interviews and chats with them that you'll hear more of later in the process. This EP started when I went up to Brisbane. We had some studio time booked in, and yeah, we had like 5 days booked, and Danny sent me a message the night before we were going to go into the studio with some news.
Yeah, you were on tour with Client Liaison, I think, and then due to come into the studio. And then, yeah, I had like a breakup of a relationship of like 10 years. So it was like a heavy one and a big sort of life event to be processing. And I was like, text Elle, I was like, this is what's happened. Like, do you still, like, I'm cool to do it. You've moved your flights. You've got a hotel or whatever it was. I felt really bad to cancel the session. I would have canceled the session if it was someone from Brisbane, but it was just like, I felt bad. But then we ended up doing it, and it ended up being like really, really cathartic and so nice to be able to process it with someone in real time, doing it through music as well, which is something that we both love. And, you know, it's one of the magical things about music. And so, yeah, that was kind of like the first song that we wrote that was probably like, yeah, this is Tornado Club. This is a new project. This feels really good, feels really raw and honest, and feels like something that should be more than just one song as a collaboration.
Yeah, definitely. And a bunch of these songs started at Danny's beautiful piano in his studio, and Intuition was one of those where it's like we had a little sort of beat going, and then yeah, just kind of unraveled at the piano. So that was really special to do. So this next song is called Intuition, and we'll be in the chat listening with you.
Shout out with any questions. Let's get this thing going.
Woo!
Are you there? Can you hear me? It's quiet on your line. Voices soft, say you're thinking. Been thinking for some time. The longer you wait, the longer this takes. We both know the time is now. So say it, 'cause I'm listening. We'll get through somehow. Sitting in silence, you know what to do. The hardest decision, the quietest room. Spent so long wishing it wasn't the truth. Trust my intuition, 'cause I think I knew. I'm still here, like you should be, while you're at your sister's house. Let me work through the changes. I know that this may take a while. The words that you say get lost on the way. You know I can't hear them now. So say it, that you're hurting, that I'll get through somehow. Sitting in silence, you know what to do.
So up next we have the first song that we put out as Tornado Club, which is called Something Was Missing, and we wanted to take you sort of behind the process of creating the visuals for the campaign, because by putting out this song, this was our first sort of step into announcing what Tornado Club is, what it looks like, what it sounds like. And we're chatting today with Mitch Lowe, who did the amazing photography for this release, particularly the white sort of lab coats, wearing reins. Hey Mitch, how's it going?
Hello, how you doing?
So we reached out to you pretty early on
Yes.
in the Tornado Club process. It was sort of maybe in November or January? I'm not
I
sure.
think it was last year, yeah. So it was probably around November, I reckon. Yeah, which is that was a while ago. That's flown, yeah.
But from memory, it was quite a long day.
It was a long day, yeah, because you guys did the video stuff at the start as well.
Yeah,
So it was a long day for you guys, yeah. It was a mission.
We'd come out, like, I'd sort of been in lockdown for a lot of 2020, and the idea of Danny and I being in the same space, we were like, we need to get everything done that we possibly can in 1 week, which actually
Exactly.
is great. Like, I'm really grateful that it could happen. But it
Yeah, well, like, because you never know, like, you might have had to go home the next day, you know what I mean? Like, you just do not know.
make the most of it. Yeah, the brand we were working with, they are out of Denmark.
Yeah, cool.
So the environment kind of suits Melbourne or like Danish rainy weather.
Yeah.
Like a tropical, humid Brisbane.
Yeah.
I like doing the shoots and stuff, and like you would lean down and this like hot air would come out of your sleeve.
Just like a hot air balloon, nearly, just like.
Oh. I remember, because you have kind of like the setup where you can see the photos in the back, and it's just very exciting.
Yeah.
Because there's this one element of like finishing the music is very cool and personal, but like really packaging it and making it this final project with like the visuals and sort of it coming together in this sleek, sophisticated, minimal way.
Yeah.
It's such an exciting thing.
Yeah, it's definitely sleek. That's like a really good way to describe it, kind of thing. It's like, it's funny you say it's from Denmark, and it's like aimed at more colder weather, because obviously the way we went was like a lot of blues and whites, and like all of the photos that I did for you guys are quite cool. Like, it's all very cold in like a nice way, kind of thing. So it like reflects, even like you can tell in the way they design their clothes, that's how you see it, kind of thing, and that's the feeling it brings. Yeah.
I was gonna ask what your favorite setup for the shoot day was.
I think my favorite's the white ones we were just talking about, just because it was like really cool. But the one we did with the like the screen, and we like cut a little hole in it, that was really cool, because that was something very different as well. And it came up, like, I knew it would look cool, but it came up better than I thought it would. Like, I was like, yeah, like that was exactly what I was hoping for, like an even more kind of thing. Yeah.
You're a genius.
Yeah. So it's like, it's funny. It's like with anything, like if you do like food photography, and it's like, there's all stuff, maybe like, you know what I mean? Like holding the food together or anything. It's like, there's always these little tricks or little things it makes everything look amazing, but doesn't look amazing in real life if you're looking at it from a different angle.
So that's the Instagram ethos.
Yes, exactly. Exactly right.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks so much for all your work.
No, it's a pleasure.
The EP. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, as always.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, really appreciate how you made us look.
No, that was the easy part.
I was waiting for you to have made up your mind. Said you were missing something. I could have been that happy the rest of my life, never knowing that something was missing. Something was missing. I was hoping that you and I could make it right. Thought we were building something, but the feeling kept pulling on you was missing. Your mind said you were missing something. I could have been that happy the rest of my life, never knowing that something was missing. Something was missing. Something was missing. Something was
So we're joined by Maiden Paris, who did an amazing remix of our first song called Something Was Missing. Welcome, Paris. It's wonderful to meet you.
Yeah, no, totally the same. It was such a good time to jump on and do that track, like the remix. It was so much fun. So much fun.
Because it was so great. This one, like people won't know this, but it actually went through 2 iterations. You kind of like sent one that was like a bit more like happy and fun, and then sort of changed to a different sort of darker direction. But it was actually really funny because you kept sending, you would send through tracks, and then we'd get to listen to it, and before we like would say anything, you'd be like, oh wait, there's another version.
Yeah. What am I doing? Like I love techno and I'm trying to make this happy, and I'm like, no, like. And then I was like, I need to like just hone in and try and redo this a little bit. I was so happy that I did, because it turned out a lot nicer, I personally think.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of both. I thought they were both awesome and both super original, and totally different to one another as well. But I think it shows like it's a real reflection of your artistry, that you're like constantly assessing what you're doing and like, you know, rebuilding, and you know, when you know, people can just submit anything, but like you obviously cared a lot about it, which was nice. And
yeah,
that's a really, really great place. It's really, really sick.
Thank you. Yeah, and I was super happy with it. I'm actually just waiting until I can play it out.
Yeah.
Yes. God, it's in some magical land.
I know.
Oh, that'll be so good. It'd be.
I know.
Yeah, it's such a strange time to just not be able to sort of road test anything.
It's so strange.
It's like
so strange.
I think it will convert, but yeah, I definitely that sound great live.
We were talking to Pat Carroll, who did the other remix that we had on this record, and like about original, like how much of the original track you keep versus how much is like basically a new set of stems that you create, and like kind of balance. What do you usually like? Do you have an approach with that when you do a remix?
Yeah, I usually tend to play around with like the bass lines. I love like playing around and kind of recreating bass lines and stuff like that from the originals, or also just making like cool like arpeggiators and stuff to go along with the original melodies and stuff like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it all comes down to balance, making sure that there's both elements from the original and from your own sounds that are going to shine through and really really mesh well together.
I wanted to ask, this isn't specifically about this remix, but you've like quite a pretty heavy European sound, like influence to my ear. And there's not like heaps of that coming out of Australia. Is there like, do you listen to a lot of overseas stuff versus Australian stuff?
I'm definitely drawn to that European styled melodic-y house and techno, and also a bit on that like prog sort of sound as well. Definitely a lot of influence from over there. So I'm always loving when like the Europeans come over for tours and stuff like that. It's a great way to grab inspiration for your own stuff, like getting to see some like sick artists like live and stuff. So yeah,
it's
I miss that so much.
God, I think Australia like really needs more of that sound, in my personal opinion. So thank you for championing that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. There's it's growing. I've noticed like a lot ever since like I started getting into it. There's little scenes are building. Well, have been up until COVID, but yeah, it's growing slowly.
And so this is our EP release day, and which we're stoked about, obviously, and chatting to a bunch of our collaborators and people who are involved in the EP, which you were one of them. And I understand that you have something out today as well.
Yes, I have a track with Human Movement. It's called Feel Me. Yeah, we went into it with just like one brief, and that was to make a banger. so that's what we did.
Amazing. I can't wait to get my face melted off.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us for this chat. Really
thank you so much, and thank you for having me jump on for the remix. It was absolutely such a pleasure to remix you guys, and like your vocals, both your vocals. Oh, just they hit the heart, that's for sure.
With the truth, you broke the silence. You came clean and I found quiet. Were you lying? Could you just not see it? Did you know but not want to believe it? You said that it's all in my head. Let it go, there's nothing there. So I laid it all to rest, trusted you and gave my best. I gave you time, all the space you desired, the thought that you liked. Didn't you think that I would have found out sometime? you got it off your chest. Now it's just a knot in mine. I gave you time, all the space you desire, the thought that you like. Didn't you think that I would have found out sometime?
So up next, we have a good friend of ours, Hayden Calnin, who is the sole collaborator on this outside of Elle and I for a song called Your Love. Yeah, Hayden Calnin, how are you going?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Hello.
It's we're just chatting before. It's been a while since we chatted, I guess, with all the lockdowns and whatnot. But yeah, it was how long ago? This is probably the oldest song on the EP, so it was maybe like 4 years ago we wrote it. Or
I
something?
reckon close too, because it was just before I moved out of the city. So it would have to be close to 4 years ago.
Because you and Hayden were together writing a song, and then you were like, Elle, you were around.
The genesis of this is I had a production idea, and Hayden was in Brisbane actually. I went to his show in Brizzy, and then I think that it was maybe the next day or something. You came in, we did some stuff in like my garage in Brisbane, and then it was like, you know, I was happy with the production, and then Hayden did some real like cool oohs and ahs and stuff, but it was kind of just like half baked, and it kind of sat there for a while, but we really liked it. And then I was in Melbourne, and I was like, do you know what would be perfect? Is like a Hayden and Elle duo. And then I just assumed that you guys knew each other as well, because you're both in Melbourne and were musicians. But did you know each other?
Well,
Loosely, but yeah.
yeah, I remember, I don't know if you remember, like kind of mortifying, but like, because I went to one of your shows and I had like wrapped up my EP and I was like, hi, I'm Elle. I love your music, because I had seen you at like Townsville Cultural Fest.
Oh my goodness.
Which is like a really long time ago. And I was like, this is so amazing. Like, massive fan. And like went down to Melbourne, and it's like one of the first shows I sort of saw when I moved down. And so, yeah, I was kind of like, I hope he doesn't remember that. But it was really cool to, you know, make some music together. And Danny just like texted and was like, hey, we're making a song. Are you free?
Do you remember that session very well, Hayden? Because
I do, yeah. I remember it was in Rolling Stock when I was working out of that studio.
yeah, it was your studio. That was an amazing studio as well. You're not still in it.
It's such a beautiful space. And I was in the Abercam, which was it was a converted shipping container within a warehouse, which was kind of, I don't know, backed onto like a big tracking room and other kind of production rooms within the space. It was such a cool studio to work out of. I really miss that space, actually.
Actually, something that just came to me the other day was I remember in Brisbane, I must have had a dream that both of your parents were singers. And I was, because I'm a big fan of your voice, always have been, but I was like, how's his voice so bloody good? And I was like, that's right, both of his parents are singers. And I must have just dreamt it. And then I like said it to you when we were hanging out in Brisbane. I was like, oh, because both of your parents are singers, right? And you're like, no. I was like, oh.
Yeah, definitely not. Only after a bottle of wine, I think.
Sorry for making up your wiki page.
Hey, it's they'd appreciate it, I think.
But yeah, so are you like a producer first or singer first? Singer-songwriter first?
I don't know anymore, Danny. I don't know.
I feel like both your top lines and your production, like I imagine for both of you, but it's like it's magic both sides. It's just like trying to work out a new inventive way for yourself to create and have output, because it like flips back and forth where you're both amazing vocalists and writers. And I think it's kind of a unique situation where the three of us getting into a room, how that kind of looks when you can all sing and you can all and that was, I think, because we had Hayden's beautiful voice captured we couldn't let that one go on Your Love, because we're just like, we tried layering Danny's voice in, and Danny also beautiful voice. It was like, no, we love Hayden's tone so much.
Thanks for letting us use your vocals on the track.
Sorry you couldn't get rid of me.
So as you're listening to it, you'll hear Hayden's voice in the chorus. Is like there's sort of like some oohs in the chorus. You'll hear them. We'll point them in the chat.
Yes, and maybe like last thing, why did a song from 4 years ago, why did this kind of make it onto the EP from your perspective, Danny? Because it like kind of similar themes, I suppose, but like maybe an exciting part of this project is that we can revisit things that are good, but like
well, it was an obvious choice for me because you and I had already worked on it, and it was a project for a duo that consists of you and I, and then also the production was sort of in my head. There's like lots of breaksy beats kind of stuff in all across the EP, and so it fit straight away. I was like, oh, another song sounds like this. And it was one that we'd already worked on together. So that was good. And then thematically, it fit with the rest of the EP, which was sort of like essentially a breakup EP. So this, like the idea of the duality of love fit very nicely, I think, very neatly. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Hayden, for joining us on this little listening party, launch party. I think because we are kind of in lockdown, this is a nice way to, I don't know, make it feel a little bit real for us. And it's such a pleasure to see you again after so long.
Likewise, and congratulations on everything. It's like, it sounds so cool, everything. So be stoked with Tornado Club. It's very, very cool.
the next song we're about to play is actually a cover, and it's the only cover on the EP, but it's a pretty cool one. It's of Tattoo, All the Things She Said, which is an absolute banger. It's funny. It's a funny cover choice, probably, but it's one that I've wanted to do for ages. Just because I think when you cover a song, to try to take it to somewhere completely different is really fun, and that felt like a really cool song to do that to. And I couldn't find anyone who'd done it before, and so I'd had it on the back burner for ages, and then I pitched it to Elle to do for this project, and she was like, "Yes."
Yeah, it's a good song. And I think because we were figuring out our sound and sort of being quite experimental and explorative with this process, by doing covers, it gives you this opportunity to really just throw a bunch of stuff at a song that you know is already a good song. The pressure's kind of gone, and yeah, I just love it so much, and it really suited the themes of the EP. So it made it onto the final cut.
Yeah. When you take away the songwriting from it, all you're left with is like the sonic palette and like your flavor to put on it. So it was a really helpful thing to do as a new project as well, to kind of help develop our sound. But yeah, it was really, really fun. Such a cool song. Yeah, let's play it.
She said, all the things she said, running through my head, running through my head, running through my head. All the things she said, all the things she said, running through my head, running through my head. This is not enough. This is not enough. I'm in serious shit, I feel totally lost. If I'm asking for help, it's only because being with you has opened my eyes. Could I ever believe such a perfect surprise? I keep asking myself, wondering how. I keep closing my eyes, but I can't block you out. Wanna fly to a place where it's just you and me, nobody else, so we can be free. All the things she said, all the things she said, running through my head, running through my head, running through my head. All the things she said, all the things she said, running through my head, running through my head. This is not enough. This is not feeling cornered and rushed. They say it's my fault, but I want her so much. Wanna fly her away, where the sun and the rain coming over my face, wash away all the shame. When they stop and stare, don't worry me, cause I'm feeling for her what she's feeling for me. I can try to pretend, I can try to forget, but it's driving me mad, going out of my head. She said, all the things she said, running through my head, running through my head, running through my head. All the things she said, all the things she said, running through my head, running through my head. This is not enough. This is not enough.
So we have another guest with us now, and this is Pat Carroll, who did one of the remixes for Intuition, the first song on the EP that you heard. So yeah, Pat Carroll, how are you going?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to meet you guys. Finally.
Yeah, this is actually the first time we're meeting at all.
Yeah.
So this is it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of Pat's for ages. Actually, I've been following all the stuff you've been doing. Your latest EP was so sick.
Thank you.
You often make it into like playlists and stuff that I'm making. So yeah, it was really great to get the opportunity to have you remix one of the tracks. I feel like it was a long time coming, and you did such a beautiful job. What was your impression when you first heard the original?
I remember just like walking around Coogee on this like rainy day, and Intuition just like themed it perfectly. And I was just like, damn, this is super cool. The main thing that stuck out to me was that bit, the synth. I don't know where it is in the original now, because I like played around with it so much in the remix, but that synth where it's kind of like, it's like reverby but distorted. Actually, the stem is it Mini Brute?
Oh yeah. It's a little micro brute, but it's
micro brute, yeah.
Ring reverb thing, and it's all kind of messed up. So
yeah.
Sounds like a guitar, I think.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I remember just walking around and that faded in, and I was like, "Oh God, this is awesome." I was like, "I'm definitely going to use this bad boy." So yeah,
it wasn't an obvious choice of track to get remixed because it's quite like piano-y and subdued sometimes. Does that change your approach when you get given a track like that?
Yeah, totally.
Fancy one.
Yeah, for sure. I guess like the thing that I really liked when approaching like any remix or even just like a track is finding like kind of two opposites and putting them together. And so for this one, I just thought like if I'm going to, because I wrote it in that Instagram post that I wrote that approaching this was like looking at what you guys did and thinking about the remix as like the next chapter, like the next stage of what someone would be going through, based on like what I felt from that first track from the original. And so the two opposites that I kind of like set up was like really driving percussion and then just making like loads of these like ambient textures with the vocals and that micro brute stem. But just like setting up like really close stuff. So like the drums and percussion, I really liked putting those like kind of up front and then having the vocals kind of like all around. Yeah, that's how I kind of approached it from the first listening, was being like, let's set up those two things and like work them, kind of like set up a contrast between those two. Yeah,
I remember because Danny was really championing that we should do Intuition as a remix, and everyone was kind of like, it doesn't work as a remix, blah blah blah. And when you sent your first take through, I feel like Steve was like, oh, actually, yes. We're like, no, actually, yeah, Danny's absolutely correct. This is, it can be remixed, and you did an absolutely magic job. Like, it's just one of those, like, nothing really needs changing. I
feel like there's a lot of those producers that have that duality, like John Hopkins with his like ambient piano and then techno. Like it happens. There's a lot of people who work in both spaces, and I think if you are someone who does remixes, like being given something with less parts is almost better sometimes.
Totally. Definitely, yeah. And I love John Hopkins' stuff. I also love, oh man, I always get the name mixed up. It's Alvanoto, and I watched like a doco on these guys very recently, Ryuichi Sakamoto. So yeah. So they do these like collaborative albums, and it's like Sakamoto playing piano, which is like all organic and beautiful, and then you have Alvanoto stuff, which is just like raw digital noise, and like they're literally like polar opposites, but they just work so well together. That's like taking that technique and foot to the furthest
Like,
extreme.
Niles Fromm,
Yeah.
and Oliver Arnold's and his chiasmos stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens so often. I'm a big fan. I think you really tapped into kind of that thing as well, which is amazing. It's like it's not often you get a remix back and you're like, amazing. This is perfect. Like I would change nothing. So
Yeah. I wish I did this. So good. It's like it's like an alternate version as opposed to a remix. It's just like this really like very exciting. I love it.
That was actually like it's funny you say that. That was the kind of approach that I prefer with remixes. Like there's a guy, Robag Wurum, I don't know how to say his last name, but and I think Robag is actually his first name backwards. I don't know. But he approaches all remixes kind of, instead of just being like, oh, here's my remix of it, it's like, it's like you said, like it's like another version of the original. It's like a reinterpretation almost kind of thing. I just love that approach. I think it's like, I don't know, retelling the story in like a different way.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, I think, of like how much of the original do you keep and how much poetic license do you have? And I
exactly
think you struck a really nice balance, I think.
Cool.
With this one.
Well, thank you so much, Pat, for joining us. And we're so happy that the EP is out and everything.
Yeah, well done, guys.
And we look forward to meeting in person one day.
One day, hopefully soon. Yeah,
definitely.
Just like a flower, I couldn't be there the rest of your life. Release me to the river, the unknown. Though you spoke louder, my actions were destined to all be in vain. Face me to the heavens until I can bear to whisper your name. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go, let go. Just like the ocean, kept on repeating, the waves always came. Pulled on the water, the unknown. Now like the summer, everything slower, it grew with the rain. Face me to the heavens, now I can bear to whisper your name. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go, let go. Let go, let go. Let go, let go, let go.
That was Let Go, the final track of our EP Reset. Woo-hoo!
We did it! Oh my gosh.
Out today.
Out
It's
today.
amazing. Yeah, that song was a fun one, and especially like I think it was nice for us to write because it was, tying up the end of that whole period and the story and theme to the EP with like a song of reconciliation and letting go and of hope. And so it's a nice way to end and a good springing board into the music that we're going to write next.
Definitely. Yeah, it just keeps building and building. And it's one of those songs where I'd love to play that one live because it's like, it just keeps going. It feels very cinematic.
And the finale. And
yeah, the grand finale.
it's fun to get to do that.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. It is a very strange time to be releasing music. And we both released albums from lockdowns last year and really did hope that we would be able to, be there in person with you for this. But it's special to be able to connect and have that sense of community and sense of letting something go.
And it's just so nice to be able to celebrate something like this with people, and so we really appreciate you jumping online and having a listen through this with us. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, we really hope you enjoy Reset EP, and hopefully we'll see you in real life very soon.
Thanks, guys.